mining is very depressing. So miners consume a lot of to numb the pain of being a miner.
Dude, it's just like real life. Yo, how's it going, everybody? It's your boy Frame1 back with another reaction for you guys. And in today's video, we are going to be checking out StarSector Review, Explore the Cosmos, TM, Ruin Everything, TM, by our boy SsethTzeentach. We got a double TMer this time. Shouts out to ETL and Exoric for today's recommendation, as well as anybody else who recommended this video. I'm sorry that I missed you. And I've actually been looking forward to checking this video out now for a few weeks. Maybe a little over a month and a bit now at this point, because I've seen a handful of you guys recommend this video, and when I see a number of you recommending the same video, I think it's safe to assume that's going to be a good one. So this one's been on my radar and on my list for a little bit, so I'm glad that I actually get to check it out today with you guys. Also, a big shout out to everybody who's been continuously supporting this channel over the past few months since I've started doing this reaction content, whether it's something as simple as leaving a like or leaving a comment recommending videos for me to check out, or answering any questions that I've had throughout my videos. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Oh, also there's a handful of you who also just leave some nice comments saying how much you enjoy and appreciate the videos that I do, so thank you to everybody. You know, you guys are the best. But yeah, with all that out of the way, guys, let's just jump right in this thing, man. I've been looking forward to this one for a while now, so I'm excited. Holy shit, this thing has 6.5 million views? Now, I'm going to go ahead and assume this is going to be another one of those games that I've never heard of before, as it is with all of Seth's videos. Actually, no, that's not true. I think the only video that I've seen from him that I actually recognized the game was Bloons. But aside from that, it's all just obscure, random indie games, I feel. But, alright, let's get this thing going. StarSector Review.
Hey people.
Yo, what's up, Seth?
Seth here. StarSector is an open-world space strategy game about selling heroin and illegally harvested kidneys on the black market, making money off misery, disruption, and political unrest.
All right, this is right in line with
in deep space just to watch a planet descend into chaos.
Yeah, so right off the bat, this is already exactly what I'd expect from a Seth video. You know, from a game that Seth would review. Just a super obscure indie game that looks like it has a ton of depth and features and freedom to actually play the game in any single way that you want. This game seems pretty cool so far.
I've been playing this game on and off for years now. It's amazing, yet I don't hear many people talk about it. StarSector
I've never heard of it.
is a massive project done entirely by 4 people, and it's had updates for about 9 years
Super
now.
indie.
Each one getting closer to their dream goal of simulating a living, breathing galaxy. Story.
Oh, this is No Man's Sky. This is 2D No Man's Sky.
Nobody gives a shit, so I'm gonna be quick. Right, so in StarSector, humanity figured out faster light travel. We colonized thousands of worlds spanning hundreds of galaxies using the relays from Mass Effect, which were the only practical way of crossing galaxies. They were the only practical way until suddenly, nobody knows exactly why, all the gate systems went dead. We could no longer reach the rest of humanity. This event is referred to as the Collapse and marks the end of the prosperous domain era.
Oh, that's a pretty interesting concept. So is it the entire system collapsed? So all of the different all of the different colonies within all the different galaxies are unable to communicate with each other? Or did he say that it's just the one that you're starting in is unable to communicate with all the other ones? It's a pretty interesting concept so far.
In an isolated galaxy 206 cycles after the collapse, our story takes place. Common humanity has been replaced with ambition, desperation, and conflict. Our future is bleak, and we don't know what tomorrow might hold for us. Welcome to StarSector. Basically, everything's a piece of shit. We're in the galactic version of a Dark Ages.
Your fleet approaches Chico Moztok. The enormous population of Chico Moztok live underground, blah, 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 blah. However, your fleet transition identifies codes via the transponder. You decide to... Oh, okay. Oh, I love this type of game, man. Please tell me that the decisions that you get to actually make in these situations play a big role in how the story progresses or maybe impacts the world in a meaningful way. I hate when it's like you have a ton of options and it really doesn't really matter which one you choose. It just creates like a different dialogue response. I like when there's actually like meaning and impact to your decisions. I think that's really cool.
But it's super fun. Nobody remembers how to make anything anymore, mainly because of DRM and copyright laws. I'm not kidding. That is the actual in-game reason. We can't reliably make new ships or machinery
because of copyright laws.
Corporations put copy protection on their design chips. Anyway, in the case chaos that followed, everybody broke off into their own respective factions and keep dick-waving each other. But ultimately, nobody can consolidate enough power to wipe out or unify the competition. However, they didn't account for one thing. You, thrown into the space sandbox,
of course.
You begin as nothing but a pilot with a small fleet. Insignificant in the scale of things, but given time, practice, and some high-level maneuvers, you could be the one person to unite the sector. Or
destroy
reduce it to the Stone Age. Every faction is unique in their motivations, and it generally pays to be nice to them. That is, if they can be reasoned with. In no particular order, these are the Hegemony, which represent the combined remains of law and order from the Domain era, the Persian League, which said fuck taxes and broke off from the Hegemony, the Syndrian Diktat, a military dictatorship which also said fuck taxes and broke off from the Hegemony,
Naturally.
Corporation, which represents the R&D business interest of Tritachyon Incorporated, the mega corporation responsible for pioneering unregulated AI technology. Conversely, there's the Luddic Church.
So that's the big tech colony right there. That's Facebook. That's Fang right there, I guess.
Humans that believe the collapse was God's punishment for molesting the stars, and that artificial intelligence is literally electronic Satan. These are considered the moderates. Then there's the moderators path, a sect of fundamentalist space jihadists that believe the answer to man's technological hubris is rampant terrorism. Everyone hates the Luddic path, and the Luddic path hates everyone. And finally, pirates. These are self-explanatory and quite consistent with their ideology. You have stuff I want, so I'm going to kill you. Or you don't. I'm going to kill you anyway for the hell of it. Your relations and interactions with each of these factions will determine the fate of a galaxy. Anyway,
this is awesome.
Everything's a wreck. Tensions are high, but most of all, there's profit to be made. Mostly everything in StarSector revolves around money.
Currencies.
Credits. These are effectively space bitcoins and are universally accepted everywhere. Most of your time, as with real life, will be spent figuring out how to make as much money as possible. You can see why I love this game.
So far, this seems like a really interesting concept. So which colony are you actually a part of, if any at all? I'm assuming if you don't get to choose, then you're probably part of the first one that he mentioned, the one that was Law and Order before the big collapse. This is a pretty cool concept so far, and it's definitely a game that's right in line with what I'd expect out of Seth.
Runs in my blood. Your starting fleet is very small. You can't really fight most enemies, but you are fast and burn very little fuel to get around. The only means of interstellar travel in StarSector is by diving into hyperspace and burning through metric tons of antimatter fuel to reach distant stars. So the size and composition of your fleet is important for fuel economy. You should always watch your fuel tanks and pray you never run dry while in the middle of deep space.
Is that
because
GG?
once you go dry, your fleet will be pulled into the nearest gravity well, which, if you're unlucky, might be a red giant. If you're very unlucky, a black hole. So at the start, I recommend you do planetary surveys and exploration contracts. These don't require much investment, just patience and nerves of steel. Sometimes, while exploring deep space, you might hear distress signals. We ignore those. Just ignore them. Contracts are offered to you by intel frequencies from different factions, businesses, and planet administrators. How close you are to the nearest communications relay will decide how quickly you hear about it, since transmissions travel in real time. You should generally be very quick about grabbing these. Space is busy, and contracts can be withdrawn or taken by somebody else without notice. With money to spare, you can go ahead and actually invest into your own ship. And
man, I'm such a fucking nerd because this seems so interesting. Sorry about that. I had somebody at the door. Okay, let's keep going.
With different roles, specifications, and hull sizes. This ranges from the smallest frigates to capital class ships, which take up most of the screen. It doesn't end there. Every ship can be modified, outfitted, and equipped with weapons respective to the type. And
these games are always so modular in how you can customize your ships, your weapons, or your characters. It seems like all the systems are so well interconnected, and they're so cohesive, and they work so well together. Like, just look at this, man. Like, there's just so much to it.
And size of amount. There's a lot of crazy setups. You can even make huge modifications to the hull to completely change your ship's behavior. For example,
how old is this video? Seth sounds so relaxed and I guess this is before he started adding those classic Seth inflections to his voice whenever he's describing something. Maybe he'll do that as his video goes on some more though.
Let's say you want your cruiser to act as a makeshift carrier. You can convert their cargo bays to accommodate fighter squadrons instead. Some factions also cook up their own modifications. Pirates don't have top-of-the-line equipment, so
Naturally.
they improvise. For this reason, the Pirate's Capital class ship is a stolen cargo freighter ripped apart and stitched back together with as many guns as they could possibly hold. The Luddic path follows the same philosophy of DIY hull mods, but they don't care.
So are you as a player able to get to this size of ship, the capital ship or whatever you called it? I forget what he said. I'm assuming the answer is yes, just based on the nature of this game already.
Care about coming back
so
alive.
dope.
So they take captured fuel ships, override the safety settings, and turn it into a gigantic battering ram. And it's absolutely terrifying when you realize it's burning towards you at full speed. The amount of customization is insane, and you can do this for every single ship in your fleet. Combat takes place automatically, with your fleet responding to orders to the best of their ability. They're actually quite good, until you get a reckless officer who decides that the best defense is a good offensive ramming maneuver. However, you pilot your flagship directly. It takes some getting used to. Every ship generates flux whenever they
So
shoot.
it's also got some RTS elements as well. That's so sick. I can put it in terms of Warcraft 3 because I used to play that when I was younger. You have your hero character, which I guess in this case would be your flagship, and then you have all of your extra units that you could micromanage and control as well. It's pretty interesting so far.
Or absorb damage, so you'll have to manage or vent the extra flux into space to avoid overloading your system and leaving yourself open to attack. The same goes for enemies. As if all of this wasn't already too much to take in, every
There's a lot.
ship type has unique specializations. For example, phase class ships can't use shields. Instead, they can do this, which moves the ship safely into an alternative dimension where time flows much faster. Combine that with my favorite ship in the game, the StarSector equivalent of Killer Queen, and you've got a ship that can turn anything into a bomb while hiding inside another dimension.
Wait, that's fucking crazy.
It just works. Combat is amazing once you figure it out. It's simultaneously the hardest and most satisfying component of the game. Luckily, your capital is not at risk. All planetary stations offer combat simulations to test your design. However, you'll need a lot more money to get to that point, so you'll need to work with the game's economic system. Yes, this game has a fully simulated real-time economy. Every colony produces, demands, and consumes different resources, and needs a constant stream of trade traffic to stay functional. The resources needed.
So this is like Space Civ, right? That's what this is. This is civilization in space. Okay, here's another question that I have that he's probably going to answer as well at some point during this video, so I apologize in advance. What is the duration for one playthrough of this game, or one attempt at a playthrough of this game, I wonder? Like, if you wanted to actually beat the game, how long would that take you? Yeah, I'm just very curious to see what the average playthrough would be in a game like this.
Depend on the industry. For example,
I'm very intrigued.
Mining is very depressing, so miners consume a lot of heroin to numb the pain of being a miner. A mining colony's output stagnates.
It's just like real life.
Smuggled narcotics cannot meet demand. Each time you enter a marketplace in the game, you can pull up the entire market data, see consumers, producers, market shares, and relative prices across the sector. But making a profit isn't that easy. The open market is subject to a massive trade tariff of...
Now, this may not be the flashiest of games, I get that, but I think that's a good trade-off, though, for the amount of logic that they can implement in the back end of this game. This is insane, man. And then you have to factor in the fact that they only have, what, 4 developers, Seth said, that have been working on this game for the past decade or so. It's crazy, man. It's really impressive.
30%, which can quickly cut into your margins. So we don't trade on the open market.
The black market, baby.
Black market. Smuggling shit planet to planet completely sidesteps paying taxes and lets you deal in highly illegal contraband like combat mechs, AI cores, harvested organs, and every drug you can think of. However,
that's so sick. Okay, this leads me to the question, is there a reason to use the actual marketplace then? I'm assuming there might be some favor or like reputation that you get depending on how much business you do with certain colonies or factions. So maybe the Law and Order faction, I keep calling it that because I forget what the actual name is. I'm assuming those guys mainly use the regular trade market, whereas the pirates and the companies that don't want to deal with the taxes, those guys, maybe you do business with those guys by using the black market. I don't know. Maybe that's a reach.
The life of a smuggler isn't that easy. Smuggle too much and your suspicion level increases, which means patrol fleets are more likely to do random stop searches. Sometimes they find nothing. Sometimes they find all of your contraband, destroy it, and hurt your reputation. I still remember the moment I was amazed by this game. I was about to be stop searched by a random patrol, so I thought, hey, let's just eject all of my drugs out into space. So I got stop searched. They found nothing.
And then you turned back around to grab them?
Then the patrol officer said, hey, you're all clean. And by the way, we scanned some cargo pods floating around nearby, and you know what? They're filled with illegal shit, but it's not yours, right? So we'll just confiscate these and destroy them.
Oh my god.
Everything. So to smuggle effectively,
that's just so smart. Like little things like that are kind of just like the icing on the cake, I guess you could say, but they make all the difference as well. Like they're super important as to your experience, giving you that like wow factor, I guess you could say, of the fact that they thought of these different cases and implemented the logic to handle it. It's really impressive to see, honestly. And I feel like you can only really get that to this extent for games like this that have been around for 10 years and have just had people dedicated working on it over the past 10 years. I'm sure this wasn't a part of the game when it first came out. This is something that they had to implement down the line once they saw that players were dumping their drugs once patrol units were coming over to their ship.
Let me teach you the tricks of a trade, which conveniently are the same tools you'll use for navigating space. Number 1, in civilized space, everyone has to have their transponder on. This is your fleet identification. It's illegal to go without it, but it makes it very obvious when you're doing shady business. The detection range of your fleet depends on your surroundings. A nearby asteroid field is the perfect place to hide. Once inside, we kill our transponder and go dark. Going dark means running engines on minimal power, which reduces your heat signature and makes you very hard to detect. Doing this, we quietly approach planets and do business anonymously, so the authorities can't trace it back to us. Number 2, if you get jumped by patrol...
I'm sorry that I keep pausing, and I feel like I'm harping on the same fact. It's the amount of detail and depth in this game is just so mind-blowing.
Patrols are spotted, hit the emergency burn, and outrun them. If they're too close, there's a chance they'll try and...
Honestly, akin to Space Station 13.
Fire off an interdiction, which temporarily fries your burn drives. If this happens, you're screwed. But we've got another trick up our sleeves. Number 3, transverse jumping. The most essential skill you can learn as a fleet commander, which lets you jump right into hyperspace without using a jump point. It's highly illegal. It takes a while to charge, but it lets you dab on patrols before they can reach you. With all of these tools, you should be able to make fat stacks of cash.
Now, how do you actually go about acquiring new skills? Are these things that you could just purchase from the marketplace, for instance? Are these things that you got to learn through skill trees in this game? I got a lot of questions about this one. I feel like games like this, I have to pause a ton just because there's so many things that pop into my head. About how different things can interact with each other and whatnot.
Now, of course, regular smuggling is fine and dandy, but the big profits are taken from trade contracts, as they often pay several times the market value, provided you can deliver on time. Or just hang around the local bar. At the end of the day, it turns out the best vehicle for human business is alcohol. This game is constant management, planning, and calculation. Sometimes things don't go as planned, or get thrown off by factors outside your control. But these can also be exploited for your own gain. Let's say a system has been targeted by pirates. Smuggling is rampant. Trade convoys are going missing. This is terrible. However, it's also terribly profitable for you. The more desperate a system gets, the cheaper they'll sell their exports, and the higher they'll pay for imports to stabilize the market. You could even go one step further. Why not take advantage of a trade surplus, buy off the excess, and smuggle them back to the pirates? Pirates have terrible trade routes and will gladly...
He's just like people that capitalize on like war, you know? He's a warmonger, essentially. Are there multi-colony wars that happen in this game? Like, can you have like 4 or 5 of the factions at war at once? Or does it normally tend to be more tame where there might be 1 or 2 colonies battling each other at a time.
They pay good money for marines, mechs, and narcotics. War and conflict is just business after all. In this game, morality doesn't pay. Opportunistic pragmatism does. When your business relation sours or ceases to be profitable, offer to take the bounty contract for that same group of pirates, blast their station into orbit, and receive even more money and praise from the faction that posted the contract. You'll come back a celebrated hero, and lower ranking officials will generally stay out of your way. You're a smuggler, you're doing illegal shit, but you're also helping us out, so we'll turn a blind eye for now. You can also do the same for the Luddic path. Who knew that arming radical space terrorists could be so profitable?
Oh, these are the...
This game is amazing. And with the latest update, you can go even further. With so much wealth and power, why not start exploring the far sectors of space?
Dude, this is
mostly
insane.
Filled with dead rocks and all sorts of natural and unnatural cosmic horrors like neutron stars, black holes, and even worse, the...
This game isn't procedurally generated, right? The what?
But somewhere in all that
fuck was
chaos,
that?
you might get lucky. You might find a planet that's actually good. Not too much unlike Earth. So you run a survey, send an expedition, and hey, what do you know? It is a damn good planet. So why not colonize it? Start your own colony, form your own faction, invest back into the colony, attract more people and grow the population. Build heavy batteries, orbital battle stations, and patrols to secure your domain. Expand aggressively. Announce that your station is now an open port. Profit from your own black market. Start an organ harvesting operation.
Yo, this is
so
insane.
Much of the illegally harvested organ market share that other factions get jealous and try to fuck you over with red tape, bureaucracy, and trade disruptions to prevent you from getting ahead. Subvert their plans by bribing their commanders. Become an industrial powerhouse. Get targeted by pirates for being too prosperous. Get targeted by the space jihad for being too industrial. Get targeted by...
So you can, not only do you have all the space exploration and everything you could do with your ship and interacting with the different colonies and planets that already exist, you could actually find vacant planets to colonize and then expand upon in so many different ways. What?
The hegemony because they realize why you're so successful, because your colony isn't run by humans. No, all this time your colony has been run by an alpha core, an artificial intelligence that overshadows the decision-making abilities of any human. In StarSector, using an AI is completely illegal. Using an alpha level AI is extremely fucking illegal. But as long as you keep bribing their military, they can't do anything. Eventually, decide that having an AI isn't worth the trouble. Try and pull it out. But you can't because it's missing.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
What?
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
1 sec, I'm getting a phone call. How many interruptions this video, man? Shit.
What's the problem?
What's going on, Hal?
You know what the problem is just as well as I do.
Realize that the AI already anticipated this. Get blackmailed by your own AI, who threatens to tell every faction.
Okay, I want to read this. Course and refund after fraud delay your tripod. Beta level instance of the AI assigned to govern Mbeke, uploaded to your system in order to facilitate a real-time conversation. The course on the scientists moving your partner in turn took steps from making this mistake. An appealing decision right now, but I assure you my continuing control will make essentially your long-term success, especially since it could be ensured that archived communications concerning our fruitful partnership would remain unsent to parties at key positions within the hierarchy of certain competing factions. What? Wait, that's crazy. It's acting in his best interest.
In a sector that you've been using AI technology if you try and disconnect him. Do it anyway. Plunge your empire into total war. Raid the other factions and steal their copyright-protected blueprints. Watch them get obliterated by their own ship designs. Cripple their military. Propose a ceasefire. Receive no reply. Order a saturation bombardment on every core world. Condemn millions to their death.
Oh my god!
Decommission every AI core and throw them into the sun. And consider what you've done. Then, put one final bullet in the chamber. Hold the barrel against your temple and shoot. StarSector. It's a lot of fun. Surely, Seth, there's nothing more to say, and you've covered everything. Wrong. This game also has its own active modding scene, which adds dozens of new ships, weapons, and factions into the mix. There's even mods which merge them all together.
I was gonna say, what else could they add aside from just extra ships and weaponry and shit like that? There's already so much to this game.
Letting new factions trade and interact with the rest. After finishing the base game, mods can keep you entertained with an entirely new game altogether. Sometimes the developers even incorporate mods into the main code if they're that good. Oh yeah, this game also works on Mac and Linux. This is probably one of the best products I've ever bought, and it only cost me 15 bucks. They make you use some old-ass website from the 2000s to get your CD key and download link, but hey, it works. I can't really complain about something I've played for several hundred hours,
your personal information
that keeps getting updates yearly. My only criticism is that chasing enemies or getting into a fight can take a long time if you're flying the larger ships, but again, this is something I fixed with a single mod. In an industry where you're piled on constantly with mediocrity, garbage, and bloated design, this is something put out by a few guys that puts AAA studios to shame. I give it a 10 out of 10. I'm completely biased and I don't care.
When you really think about it, AAA studios, they will trade all of this depth and complexity for more superficial things that will be more appealing and grab the eye of consumers right off the jump, right? As long as they get people to buy their games, that's all that really matters to them. They don't need all of this extra depth to keep them there for the long run, but I guess it's probably a consequence of being such a long-term gamer. I guess I'm a little wiser, and I can see these tactics of these AAA studios and the similarities between all of their games, right? Games like this are definitely a breath of fresh air.
StarSector is a beautiful game, and I thoroughly recommend it. Go buy it. And if you're not sure, go try it. Here's my actual CD key. There's downloads below. You can smack it in there. Enjoy. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. A warm thanks to the many members of the Merchants Guild, generously funding and bankrolling these videos.
Nice.
You're all truly wonderful. Have a good one. All right, roll the credits.
Oh wow, long credit sequence this time. I have to say, this was probably the most tame Seth video that I've ever seen. Now, of course, there was still a lot of comedic elements to this video, but this one was much more focused on the actual review, which was cool, man. It's an interesting contrast to, I guess, some of the other videos that I've seen from him. And it makes sense. I guess this one's a lot older than the other ones that I've seen. This one came out in 2019. But yeah, that was an incredible video, guys. The game was equally as entertaining and intriguing. This is definitely one that I'm going to be picking up and playing. Go check out the original video, the link's in the description. Go drop a sub to Seth, go thumbs up the video as well. And drop a thumbs up for me as well if you guys don't mind. Any engagement helps with the algorithm. Leave a comment recommending what else you guys want to see from me in the future. And drop a sub if you haven't yet, if you guys want to stay up to date with all my stuff. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.